Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Great Transition. Hello, Chris, Seth. What is up?
Hello,
Hello.
we're here again.
Yes,
Every
myself
week I feel
here
like we're here.
too.
It's weird.
What?
Every week it's like we're here doing the show.
Yeah, yeah. Which is it's a milestone in our perception of reality that we keep coming up against, and yeah. All right. If you're
Hold
new
on a sec.
here,
Hold on,
yep.
hold on. There's some
Okay.
people who are not so new, but I'm just making a connection. So, Ralitza, hello in
Okay.
Bulgaria. I see you asking questions. I'm answering questions over in Kabbalah Revealed with Albert, one and
Mm.
one and two over there. So, hold on a second. Okay, so I recognize you from over there. And who else did I see over here? So Seraphim actually showed up this week we have a class on Tuesday nights where we study, we go through some Bala Sulam articles. We did, remember we read recently the letter that Bala Sulam wrote about his hidden teacher?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did
Very
that.
special.
It was really
Very
special. So
special stuff.
Seraphim was there. I couldn't believe it.
Mhm.
So hello, Seraphim. Welcome from over there, and to all of the great friends who are here. Debbie, Yetzi, of course, Cannibal. Hello, everybody. Rome from
Yes.
Connecticut. Johnny over in England.
Keep
Debbie,
going while I pour some water. Just keep going.
Simon. Simon, I understand from lessons that we choose a way of suffering, and soon we'll face nuclear war. Okay, not that doesn't sound good, Simon. But maybe Simon's name isn't actually Simon, so I'm not sure. Seraphim, Debbie, Julie. Hey, Julie in Utah.
You know what? Let's
And
pick
Meta.
up on what Simon just was putting down, and let's take it and run with it. How's that, huh?
Okay.
Go for it.
Let me tell you what I'm battling with, thinking about with this crazy war, this really bad, depressing situation that we're seeing every day following on the news. I assume a lot of people are doing that these days. And um, I'm just asking myself, like, did you notice some of the reports? There's first of all, I think it's up to like 2 million refugees now. There's horrible, horrible stories about people being, bombarded in their houses or on a bridge by an airstrike from the air. Women who are forced to
Hospitals. Yeah.
to to give labor, hospitals, yeah, women who are forced to give labor inside their subway station
I
there in
heard
the
that there
Ukraine.
was or I read there was like 400 and something babies born in Kiev during the war. It's a lot of babies.
Mm.
Not great
But
conditions.
I'm saying what's going on. It just it's so dystopian that it's happening right now. You want to think that this is like, are we this is like the 30s of the previous centuries, the
It feels
40s,
so
like what's
ancient.
going on here?
This whole style, yeah, feels very outdated of
Out
like war.
and that is what I am really intrigued by. I mean,
Yeah, I definitely
you
thought the
look.
next I thought the next
Yeah.
big war was going to be with drones and stuff. Like seems so inefficient to send people running after each other. You just want to kill someone, you just send a drone over, blow it up, and then you're finished, right? You don't even need to leave your
Yeah, all those
couch.
those people and rifles and tanks and artillery and
There was
bombs.
there was this
Yeah.
Star Wars that my not Star Wars, Star Trek. There was a Star Trek episode, and my dad loved Star Trek. And there was one episode which was very interesting. I don't even know when was Star Trek. I mean, it was really old. The concept of this show was, you have two nations fighting, or I guess in this case it was two planets, and it was a computer simulation, and uh, and in the simulation, if you lose, quote unquote, if you lose soldiers or whatever on the battlefield, you lose civilians, and the computer tallies them up. Okay, this side lost 10,000, then you had to go and take 10,000 citizens and like kill them. Instead of like having to destroy your, all of your economy, destroy all the infrastructure instead of bombs, because they're saying, no, we don't need to destroy things. Instead, let's just run the simulation, and whoever dies in the simulation will
Mhm.
just take out that amount of people. I mean, that already seems like one up from where we were. I mean, but still, we're still seeing in 2022 people flying with helicopters and destroying buildings, destroying neighborhoods. It just seems so ancient. It just doesn't seem like, what are we really now in 2022?
I, I, exactly. It's paradoxical. And why is it paradoxical? Because this is the question I want us guys to start from. Okay, let's explore this. How can this be that we are now in 2022, like you said, we have everything I'm saying is real. You can look it up and see, right? We sent a robot to Mars that is walking on Mars and is sending us pictures like you send your wife a picture on WhatsApp. We have that now going 70 million miles, I think, away from planet Earth, sending pictures to us. We have so much human sophistication and ingenuity and creativity that we're putting into practice. We have incredible technology, this thing that we're on right now, this virtual video conferencing, world wide web enabled, around the world communication above geography and time zone and so on. Culture, we have art. We're a creature that expresses itself in the form of motion picture to to express and illustrate our deep thoughts and suppositions, things we suppose about life and ourselves. We can contemplate the vastness of interstellar space with our brains. We have science and empirical method to gather knowledge about reality. There's robots now that are developing their own brains, artificial intelligence, these neural networks that are doing things that we've designed these artificial intelligent machines now to learn on their own. I mean,
You're getting
it's
me excited about the 21st
insane.
century.
And yet, with all that, we there's one thing we can't seem to make work, and that is just stop killing each other. Just stop murdering each other and dropping bombs on each other and killing children and mothers and husbands. Like that's the one thing that with all of the human intelligence and wisdom and science and technology and art and design and sophistication and creativity, it's the one thing we just can't seem to be able to do, even today in the 2022, being the
Hold on.
modern
You say
hyper
you
technological civilization that we are.
with all the hyper
Yeah.
technological futuristic world that we're living in now, there's also something else. You know, we see the leaders, for example, can't stop killing each other, but also with people, like day to day, there's this phenomenon of people just starting to beat the crap out of each other, like random
Oh,
beat,
you mean
beating the
without a
crap out.
war?
You
Yeah,
mean
like there's
general
something
violence?
in the
Yeah,
air
without
now.
war.
Like normally, I have an unspoken agreement with everybody else outside
Mhm.
that like I'm not going to hit you or jump on you or hit you with my car, and you're not going to jump on me or punch me or throw something at me when I'm walking down the street or hit me with your car. And because of that, and if you've been into a city like New York, sometimes you wonder, why is everyone keeping to this agreement? But everyone
Mhm.
keeps to that agreement, and you can pretty much walk around without somebody punching you in the face, even if they're angry that day. But now people are getting to the point where, like, I feel so frustrated, I'm just going to punch you in the face, or I'm going to just do something. I'm going to push you onto the train. So it's not just the
So
leaders.
you're
There's
relating to
this.
actual violent
This is
things
in
that happen.
this
Okay.
is this is in Texas at a
Oh
restaurant.
yeah.
This
Oh
was
yeah, I
Golden
saw that.
Corral,
It
I think.
happened in
Okay.
the news like
Right.
recently.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Couple
guy's
weeks
saying,
ago.
yeah, this
Couple
guy
weeks
goes,
ago.
he goes, nobody got hurt. You know, I just got a black eye, and my brother broke his arm, but you know, nobody got hurt. Everything was fine. You know, so it didn't even consider that like that anyone got hurt. But Chris, what happened? It was in Texas. I know you. I'm sure you followed it. Somebody took the last piece of steak or something off the
Yeah.
buffet.
Yeah, yeah.
That was it. Someone took the last piece of
Yeah.
steak off the buffet,
No, no
and
other
maybe
details to
somebody's.
add. Yeah, there's no way to really add details to
And like
justify.
40 people in the restaurant got into a brawl, and I could find another dozen examples of um, someone just walking down the street and just punching someone in the face or slashing someone in the
Yeah.
neck yesterday in Florida. Just just two people
Right.
riding their bikes home. I'm saying
So,
there was an agreement before that we weren't going to do that to each other. Just in general, yes, there's always criminals. There's always a devious element in society. What that is, also, it's worthwhile to talk about at some point because that's also part of nature. But in general, in the society in general, there's been an agreement. I'm not going to punch you in the face. You're not going to punch me in the face, and we can
and yet that agreement never holds water throughout human history, whether it's between people or individuals or
no, I'm
uh,
saying okay. So the
political opponents or
wars
countries.
happen cyclically. Okay.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that in society, you're talking about why is it that we can't stop killing each other in war? But I'm saying that there's also
Yeah.
some feeling right now that people are starting to um, boil over. Also, it's like happening in the population as well.
Yeah. Um, but it happened before too. You know what I mean? It's not
It's like
like
we
it's
see
a
it more
new
just because
thing.
there's like
Okay.
CCTV.
Um, okay. So when it happened before, so it typically, I think, I didn't actually think this through that deep, but I could imagine times where people were racist, okay, or times where
Yeah.
people were xenophobic. I'm leaving aside all of the serial killers and just, criminal element, but I'm just talking in general the population. If there's some kind of racism, so that'll happen. If there's some kind of xenophobia or something, that'll happen. If there's some kind of prejudice about something. But just to indiscriminately, I'm in a restaurant with other people like me, someone takes the last piece of steak and we start a brawl with 40 people in the restaurant. Like
Uh,
everyone in the restaurant just jumps in and
Hmm.
starts fighting.
it's like you
To
don't
me,
even.
that seems like something that's kind
Okay.
of a
So so
newish
so
phenomenon.
let's
Mhm.
okay, so let's put that on the table against the war. Okay. Because this is violence and that's violence. What's the difference? You could say that the people who got into the brawl, so uh, it's a demonstration that I don't know what is the background of these people, but even if you are the smartest, sharpest dude, if someone gets on your nerves and um, scares you or frightens you or gets you to the point where your limbic system goes off, that's it. Your rationality and your intelligent decision making capacities are out the window.
Explain the
That's
limbic
it.
system for, real simple, just what
Well,
that means.
this is something that they showed in, I guess, in neuroscience, behavioral economics, wherever you're looking at human behavior, you see that we think we're rational beings, rational players, well mannered, thinking well before we act, but we really are very impulsive creatures, and our we have this negativity bias where we are defensive by nature. This, scientists say it comes from our evolutionary psychology. But essentially, what this means is that even if you can look at a situation and you can say, ooh, it's really not smart to get into a violent scene here, right? If you're in that scene, it doesn't matter how well you can look at it from outside. If something happens there emotionally and that tips you off, you will you will find yourself in a violent
And it looks like
situation.
it's contagious if there are 40 people. I mean,
Mhm.
right?
And
It wasn't.
there's
Yeah.
of course a social atmosphere that is
Sometimes I've had the
dictating.
feeling. Sometimes I've had the feeling when I've been like really frustrated or very angry at times in my life, like you're like walking in the street, and you're like, oh, I wish that someone would just say something, right? Like just someone start with me, you know, Like
Hmm.
you've never had that? Am I?
Yeah, sure, sure,
Yeah, like
sure.
you're so frustrated, and you're so full of adrenaline. You don't even care if
Hmm.
you get hit in the face. Just say
Yeah.
something. Just say something to me. So, I'm not that kind of person who walks around violent typically.
And it
Well,
also has to do. It feels
I
like if they were listening to me. Sorry, it feels like if I was being listened to. I'm already going off a little bit, but maybe it's going to connect to what Asaf is thinking in his head. It's like if I feel like they cared about me, if I feel like he wanted to give me the steak, you know, but then he did. If I
mm,
felt like there was some kind of attitude there where I could, meet him halfway. Oh, he considers me, I consider him. But really, it seems like no one considers anyone. Obviously, I mean, we've talked about this a lot. No one considers anyone. So immediately, like Asaf said, it's like you're immediately defensive because he's not thinking he's not thinking for like for the best for me.
mm,
He doesn't want the best for me.
yeah.
So immediately, you're already saying, okay, well, I have to resort to violence. But and even if you want to look at like Putin, you can even stretch it out that much. No one's listening to me. No one cares about what I want.
Okay, put Putin on hold for a second. We'll go back to Putin in just a second. The first of all, I just you just sparked something. I want to give a let me give a tip to everyone who's listening from a dear friend that you might know, listeners and viewers of the Kabbalah Info channel. Um, my good friend Marcus told me years ago, many years ago, that he has this system. I don't know if it probably doesn't apply to a physical situation, but if you're really angry at someone and you think about blowing things up with them, but you're not physically next to them right now, write them an email, like write them the angriest, baddest,
Nice.
like horrible email, but don't hit the send button. Then go back to that email tomorrow and see what you think.
He's got a lot
that
of smart
that
things that he says.
that
Like I've heard
is
some tips from
I'm
him too.
I apply that to life since then for years now, and it's a really interesting thing. Just with regards to what Seth
Did
said
anyone
about
get
how
an email from
you
Putin?
feel that adrenaline. So okay, so back to the war, right? So what I was asking is how can that be? How is it that we have all that we have? We do all that we do. We're even able to collaborate in very complicated ways. The fact that we put a man on the moon, for example, that took time and money and resources and people, mostly people who have to collaborate and work on different pieces of the project, putting it together. And we did all that. There's so much that humanity has done. Why can't we just stop killing each other? Can't we just stop murdering each other? And what this war suddenly shows you is no, we can't. In a second, in a day, you're back 100 years ago. You're back to the 1940s. What's happening right now is unbelievably paradoxical in the this advanced civilization that we are. And to so on a personal scale, like the situation in the steakhouse or whatever. So we see it, like we said, like the limbic system goes off, you're done. But when you're talking about something between nations, think about it. It's not like, is it the same thing? Is it the same thing? You're talking planning and weaponry and soldiers, amassing soldiers next to the border for 2 weeks right before the invasion. This is not a
Forget
one,
2 weeks.
like,
These things are probably decades in the
year.
making.
I read some analysis that says that at least from 2014, Putin has been setting the ground, amassing an amount of money. uh, Forget it, it's all political analysis, not really our forte here, but yes. So it's not like someone tips you off and you throw a punch because your limbic system went off. What is going on here? How is it that we're still looking at war as a means to an end, as something that we are doing, supposed to do, can do, should do? How does that even make sense? And that's what I think we should really be exploring. Why is it so complicated, so difficult, so impossible for us to stop going to war with each other. And
I know the answer.
okay, go for it.
Um, I only know the answer because with Seraphim and whoever else was there with us, I'm not sure who else was there with us Thursday night, but a Tuesday night, we we were reading something from Rabash, which comes from the introduction to the book of Zohar. Um, Bala Shalom is answering in the introduction to the book of Zohar, what is our long chain? What is our role in this long chain of reality in which we're just small links? And he says that first, so he goes, our life is divided into four segments. Our spiritual development is divided into four stages during our life.
Okay.
The first step
Yeah.
means that we need to, he says, the first division is to obtain the excessive will to receive without restraint in its full corrupted measure from under the hands of the four impure worlds of Abiyah. If we don't have that corrupted will to receive, well, you know what happens if that whole anyway. That's why, because thus the will to receive imprinted at birth is insufficient. That little desire that we have at birth is
Mm-hmm.
insufficient. Rather, it has to be a vehicle for the impure klipot for no less than such and such amount of years, etc. So it's actually part of our
Oh,
development.
because you just said a bunch of things here that I'm sure every one
It
of our
doesn't matter if
viewers
you understand
understands.
exactly, but the point is we're looking
But
at I specifically want us, you know, like you're looking with those glasses, you just
Oh,
switch them to
hello.
another. We need to specifically, in order to answer this question and understand what's happening in the world, we need to switch our glasses. Keeping the same glasses on will not enable us to see where the solution is. Um,
So what
okay,
specifically are we looking at?
let me translate that then.
okay.
Let me give a go at translating that. The reason we are still going to war is because all of that evolution and human development that we see on the outside, putting a man on the moon, uh, setting up electric cars, setting up the internet, trade and commerce, whatever, all of that technological, cultural, educational development of mankind is um, is a development of our intelligence and our physical abilities and our creativity and productivity. Great. But there is another whole different level of human evolution that we're just now getting close to even starting. And until we begin this new phase of evolution, this turning point in human evolution that needs to take place, that has to do with going deeper into the range of human emotion, expanding the range of human emotion, and a new spectrum of feelings that the human needs to learn how to feel to evolve.
Normally,
Until
when
we go there, we will continue to fight each other.
normally
It
when
doesn't
we
matter how smart we are. Yeah, go ahead.
normally when we think about improvements in our world or improving the war or improving our state of life, you know, we're thinking that, you know, before our telescope could see 1 million miles away, now our telescope can see 100 million miles away. Or, you know,
Yeah,
before we could do surgery by breaking open your chest bone. Now we can do surgery with a little hole through your nose or whatever. You know, we think that, you know, you know, before my TV had 500 pixels, now it has 1 million pixels. So we're all, but he continues here at birth. Uh, well, he
but
says at birth, the desire we're given at birth is not how we're going to achieve spirituality. The problem is spirituality is infinite. So it really doesn't matter if you take your telescope from 100 times to 1,000 times. You need to get it to an infinite times. You need to get all of your senses to be able to hold something that has no limits. Spirituality doesn't have borders like that. In order to
Wait,
receive.
you jumped towards spirituality at
Oh,
with
okay. So
now.
thanks for
I
catching
want to
me.
solve war.
Yeah, no, I want to solve war too. Well,
Maybe that's
remember,
the
Me,
only
me too.
way,
Me
but
too.
we have to get there.
remember Einstein says you can't
Right.
solve a problem on the same level that you created it on. So that's what I'm trying to dress up your explanation with all of these beautiful garments that Bala Salam writes here.
Yeah. So getting along with each other for human beings is not a matter of intelligence. It's not a matter of developing better tools. It's not developing better diplomacy, better treaties, political agreements, economic ties. All of that we can see goes down the drain when it comes to getting along with each other and not
But that
killing
is
each other
some
and
kind
not
of
going to
development,
war.
though. It is development.
Sure, sure, which doesn't take you to the point where you can stop killing each other.
Oh, but it's confusing.
Therefore,
What I'm saying
no,
that
no,
because it's
no.
confusing. You know what I'm saying?
I, I'm, I'm gonna be very insistent on this. With all of this development, you can say, okay, but wait, we've developed. You know, the human being lives longer. We're collaborating more than we did before. Well, yeah, and at the same time, you realize that we're almost at the point of annihilating the planet with
So either we develop.
atomic explosions. I'm talking right now. Right now, this war specifically could lead and almost did to an atomic explosion in Chernobyl and some other
Yeah, it got really close.
nuclear facility there. So what does that tell you? That tells you that even you could rest on your laurels a bit, or at least kind of like give humanity some credit. You can go there and say, hey, but we're doing that. But you can also say, yeah, but with all that development, if you don't fix this one thing, which is our connections, if you don't fix this one problem, which is learning how to not kill each other, how to not fight each other, how to not go to war, if we can't make that work, then all of the development that you've done is going to come and to be to your detriment.
Okay, so
It
the
can be the
first,
very
but
thing
the
that kills
first,
you,
but
your
I'm not, but I'm,
technology and your weapons and so
but
on.
I'm not asking the question why are people fighting because I already know the answer. So I want to go somewhere else. I understand the answer of why people are fighting because in order to receive the purpose of this whole game here is to receive endlessly. That's what Kabbalah means to receive. So if I want to receive, I have to have a huge vessel to receive. So Baal Islam told us here, you have to have this totally everything, corrupt everything. So I already know why we have it. That's the plan of creation to give humanity. That you look so bored and upset with my opinion here. You really wanted to take it somewhere else, and I keep pushing this point, and I want to crack this with you.
I want to say this. Uh, uh, I don't know how to get to it in some creative way, so I'm just gonna say it. Okay. In order for us to get along with each other, we have to get in touch with the network that connects us. We have to get in touch with a deeper layer of reality, a deeper, more causal, more fundamental fabric of reality where we are all one, where we're all connected. We have to penetrate into that realm. That requires a new emotional development, let's say, a new sensorical development of the human being. Until we penetrate to that layer on the outer physical world, there's going to be war. And all our technology and everything we do in the physical world is going to be to our detriment. We're going to see this, I'm sure, as we move forward into the 21st
So on
century.
one hand,
I don't want to be doom and gloom here. I'm just saying that you cannot. Evolution is what is the name of the game. The human has to evolve, right? The next phase of evolution is no longer on this level. It's like Seth said before, you had the flat, you had an old monitor TV, now you have a flat TV, you have this, now you have more of that. No, that level of development it's on the same plateau. What we're talking about is rising to a new level of human sensitivity, human emotion, human perception of existence. We have to begin to feel each other as a single network. All of us have to feel that I am a part of all of humanity. All of humanity is this one vessel that I have just a unique point of view on it, but I'm part of it just like everyone else. And when we begin to develop that kind of sensitivity to the network that connects us, our actions will change in the physical world as well. But beyond that, we're going to be living life on a different level. That's why war will not stop on the physical level until we gain connection in the non-physical realm.
But I don't see anyone saying that technology is going to keep us from war, anyways. I don't see that as an argument.
I think that there is such an argument out there, but it doesn't matter. Okay, whatever.
But you know what I'm
If
saying?
people,
On
I think people hang a lot of hopes on technology being the savior.
yeah,
I
but
can. There's
that's
a lot
true.
of
But it's
talk,
if you want to say like, oh, okay, if you have a hypersonic missile, then that'll keep everyone from, that'll
but
be
I'm not.
the mutually
I'm not
assured
against
destruction.
technology. Maybe it comes across as if I'm
I
against
feel like there's
technology.
just a no, yeah. I just feel that there's a disconnect. Like, okay, fine, we had this development, and it basically says it basically feels like you're saying it doesn't matter. We
What
developed
I'm
all this stuff, but it
saying
doesn't
is
matter.
technological and intellectual development of mankind is not what will bring us to peace.
Okay,
There
hold
is
on.
a
Let me jump in
yeah.
again. I'm going to go back to the introduction to the book of Zohar. So Bala Islam talks about these 4 stages, even though I can tell it's bothering you so much that I keep pulling the conversation away from this direction. But I think we're gonna come around here. The first step is I need for me, and that's the wars. That's what goes on in the steakhouse. That's the fighting everywhere. I need, I need, I need, I need. The next and in that it's constant fighting because everybody just wants for himself. It's growing, it's growing. The next step is to integrate, like you're saying, with all, because I want, right? I want money. How much money? A lot of money. I want time. How much time? A lot of time. But then after my 100 years, okay, great technology. I live 200 years, really good technology. I live 300 years, but then I die. So it's almost like it's not enough. I need something. I want to live forever. I want eternity. And now when that develops, because right now still all of the fighting, it's still like at the end of this first, like humanity is like maturing to the end of this first phase. The next phase is like I want when people start to want something more, when people start to say this is enough, like I even if I get something, because right now people still it's like I just want safety, I just want a house, I just want to be not bombed, I just want to have food, I just want to give birth not while I'm running from a bomb. You're muted. I don't hear
Oh,
you.
sorry. I think that's enough.
What's
I
enough?
don't
What's
I don't
enough?
think that masses and masses of people need to consciously yearn for spirituality in order for the world to start moving in a positive direction.
Well, wait a second.
All
Before
we
you go
need,
more, he's
yep,
but right
yeah,
now, just if we look at the situation right
yeah.
now, we say if you don't want to fight, then you need to give him something, and you need to, you need to give some kind of concession, and he needs to give some kind of concession, and there won't be war.
No, I'm not saying that too.
Oh,
That's mediation on a this is like something between like a marriage counselor would do. This is
right.
politics. This is
Yeah, invite
diplomacy.
Israel over
It's
to
it's
talk with
okay.
Putin, and
It's
yeah.
it's okay. It's something we need to do. We're human beings. We use language to communicate, and language becomes basically a means for us to not kill each other if we're successful. Sometimes we're not, like right now. right? When interests go beyond the words and beyond diplomacy, then language cannot help. What I'm saying is that what we're lacking in order to take war out of the table, out of the equation, what will get humans to, I'm not saying we're going to just sing kumbaya, all of humanity, 8 billion people, that's it, we don't want anything, no interests, no desires, no conflicts. No, I'm saying, what will it take? Let me refine the question. What will it take for human beings to deal with their conflicts and differences of opinions and opposing views and different interests and so on, and not even have war on the table as an option?
Okay.
The only way I see that happening is that we begin to sense the others as our part of us, as part of our family. You can still be mad and angry and have opposing views towards someone and have disagreement. Disagreement is great. It brings progress. Conflict is not a bad thing. All of nature is built on conflict between two opposing forces. But nature doesn't work to annihilate one force over the other, to defeat. It works to complement. So for that to be our guiding light, and for that to be a modus operandi, and for that um, um, to be how we solve problems and how we deal with conflict, we have to see each other, feel each other, sense, just like we're sensing this microphone and my body right now. I have to develop a tangible, real, vivid, visceral sensation that I'm part of this global network called humanity. That is not an intellectual development. It is not a technological development. It is not about language. It's not a political development. It's something that you can do in contracts. It is only a deeper emotional layer of existence that we are not in touch with right now. Because we're not in touch with it, what feelings, how much people are actually connected to even their feelings, to just their emotions.
All right, it's hard. You take your
Well,
phone to the bathroom every time you go, and you don't even want to be stuck with looking inside.
that first, there's distraction and white noise all around us and in our faces through these devices all the time. But even more than that, the ordinary instinctive level of emotion that we are in touch with is mostly what makes me feel good, what makes me feel bad, what is more convenient, what's less convenient. If something really bad happens to me in life, that makes me sad. If something bad happens to someone close to me, that makes me sad. Sure, but there is a whole new spectrum of human emotion that has to do with sensing the network that we are all part of. It's a change of heart, connecting to the heart of humanity, connecting to that non-material entity that we all are. It cannot happen through our physical communication. It cannot happen through our bodies. It can't happen through language. It has to happen through the heart.
Whenever we say,
And yeah, and heart is not something airy fairy. Obviously, this is what Kabbalists did. They took the the principle of empiricism and precision and rigorous practice and applied it to human intentionality and human emotion. And that's what they found, that if we begin to radiate a certain intention towards each other, in simple words, just to wish well for each other, if we begin to consciously work on that, not even succeeding, keep gravitating back, we keep, even if you try now, I encourage all of our viewers to try that for one day, one
1 minute.
day. Just try to wish well for everyone else in humanity. Just try to even focus on that. Forget day, 1 hour, 1 hour. You will immediately feel the gravity of your ego pulling you back, not allowing you to go to that realm. It will require you to put conscious efforts into it, maybe even to surround yourself with an environment of others who are doing the same thing. And only then you can begin to feel that this is a reality, that we can radiate this concern towards each other, and it raises us to a new level of thinking, a new level of feeling. It develops new emotions in us, new sensorial, new sensations, new
Whenever you say
senses.
that, whenever you say that, it makes me think of how women, there's always the jokes about men, women are like this and men are like this, and I feel like women have some kind of
Absolutely.
there's something there that like I can't grasp, but I understand that they I don't know what the word, they care more, or
Women
obviously they're
are,
emotional, they feel more. There's something
they're
to
closer.
learn.
They feel this closer, for sure, for sure, for sure. They feel this closer. I would explain that, based on what, I've never been a woman, so I don't know. Um, Based on what Kabbalists explain, and speaking to my wife a lot about this, I think it's like they have a quality. It's like that maternal instinct. Let's call it that we just don't have, and they feel the world through that as well. Now, of course, I'm generalizing here and everything, but in essence, in terms of like the archetype of a woman, spiritually, kabbalistically, this is a reflection of the quality of bina, the quality of bestowal. They are built. They're built to have the experience of caring for developing this embryo that is not you, and being a vessel for its livelihood. That maternal instinct, we could call it however you want to call it, that quality of a mother, even if a woman doesn't have children, it doesn't matter. That quality, that
Yeah,
archetypal quality of caring and nurturing and loving, uh, is something that they have instinctively, and it puts them at a better position, so to speak, at a better starting point towards relating to that network that connects
there's
to
something
all
to
of
learn there.
humanity as this
You said
network. Yeah.
something earlier. I want to focus on because I think it's an important point. You said that Kabbalah is it's like this science. We've said it many times, but it's a science of the emotion. We have a bunch of science of technology. We have science of biology, science of physics, quantum physics, all these different things. You could go down as deep as you want to, and there's a science about it. But what if you're saying that all this technology that we've developed and everything that we've developed on that level isn't bringing us to any kind of correction to keep us from killing one another? Then you also use
Yeah.
the same word, science
uh,
of Kabbalah, of like
aren't
the
we
science of
seeing that?
emotion.
What?
But yeah, exactly. But there's also some like there's also it feels weird to say that Kabbalah is a science when I can't really feel like emotion is very, what is my emotion? What am I feeling? How
Yeah,
do I
yeah,
measure it?
yeah.
What am I
it
what
it
what's so
sounds
sciencey about it?
it's true. It
If it's
sounds
supposed to bring us
airy
to this next level,
fairy.
if technology brought us to
Yeah.
such a high level, and then you're saying there's even a higher level above that, and the technology there and the science there is even, it's going to solve all the problems. It seems like such a easy way to like,
The I have, also, uh, coming from like this sort of, I guess I have some sort of a scientific orientation. Uh, I appreciate science, um, but there's a big problem with science. What science did is essentially, um, put the focus on learning what is reality only through physical, external tools of measurement. Why? Because that's what we know how to do. You put together a microscope, it allows you to see deeper into matter. You build a telescope, and those lenses, etc., allow you to see farther into the universe. But there's also emotional tools, let's say, that we need to develop in order to see deeper beyond matter.
The
And
the U.S. government spends
yeah,
I don't know. There's 2 dozen or more contractors that each do multiple billions of dollars in contracts a year. developing more precise, more sophisticated weapons.
Weaponry. Yeah.
I have no. I'm sorry to show this, but I just want to. It's real people. It looks like a video game. This is from the current war. It's like they found it. They spotted the tank, and when you see something like that, there's real people in there that died. When you see something like that, suppose there's some child in Oklahoma, some 15-year-old, some 16-year-old who's like, we never seen anything like this. The way he plays those video games, like his precision, his sniper, like he can kill like 70 people in a minute with his sniper thing. Like you don't even let him think he's playing a video game in Oklahoma. Just wire it to your equipment in some landscape in wherever, and have him actually fighting the war. Like that's possible, and that's probably where it's going. It's probably, of course, we already know about drones. There's plenty of drone strikes and things like that. The technology is only going in one direction. Without a leap to the next level, there's it doesn't matter how many billion. Remember we talked about that nice little bit chunky kid, but super sweet, like wanted to save
Sam?
everybody with his billions of dollars. He lived in the Bahamas with his friends. He's like cutie. You want to like squeeze his cheeks.
Yeah, the
Forgot his
crypto
last name.
dude.
Sam something.
Sam, exactly. Sam. He was on Nas Daily Show. Like
He was
looked
he
like
was
a
actually
really
everywhere. He got real popular.
looked like a
Yeah.
really like sweet, nice guy. But what is he going to do? We should check in on him, in a couple of years and see, like, did he
We
save the
should.
world? Like, how are those projects going with all the billions that you gave to all those
Yeah.
charities? It's we're
That's a
stuck, and we keep look. Here's something else. I just want to say this. It's an aside, but I'm a little bit fired up today. So, um, the like, let's just also say yes. Coronavirus was a virus. People got sick, people died. Okay. There is actually a war going on now and people are dying. But the same people that brought us the Corona movie over the last 2 years on the news are the same people bringing us the war movie right now. Notice the virus just disappeared and then now the war started. It's
Everything
the
else
same,
disappeared. Yeah.
it's the same people who brought us the Corona movie. And now this season they're bringing us the war movie. And we need to see everyone, our solution is not in checking the news 10 times a day and talking about, everyone is all of a sudden an Eastern European war expert. And before we
Mhm.
were all COVID experts and infectious disease
Yeah.
experts, our solution is not in there.
Yeah.
Our solution is, like you said, I want to check the news, see what's going on in the world. I want to talk to somebody about it. First thing to do before that, let me send a thought into the collective network that I want there to be good for everyone. Okay, then I'll check the news or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Just
Also,
think about what would happen if those tools of communication, if the media, right? What is the media supposed to do? The media is supposed to mediate the connection between human beings. That's what the media is supposed to do. So, and it does that. It does that whether we like it or not. When you're tuning into the news, you are going into a collective narrative that has been shaped for you. Now, I'm not talking about fake news and conspiracies and what's right and what's not. That's a whole different subject. But what you said, just to emphasize it, there's no, in that story that we are presented with on the news and the mainstream channels, no one is working to bring us together. No one is working to plant some seeds of uh, of getting us to feel that we are a single network. And if we just did that, if we added a little bit of that, you would see the whole world changing.
But no one's
This
even
is
talking about it. No one's even talking about trying
no
to
one,
make
no
it
one, no
better.
one is even
Not even
talking about
saying,
it.
how do we not have war anymore? No one's saying that. No
Yeah,
one's
no
saying, how
one's
do we not have
exactly.
war?
Yes, that's
and
what I'm
also
saying.
there's another big misconception here as well, and that is that everyone, there's this concept of like someone is good and someone is bad, and when you get into the wisdom of Kabbalah, all of a sudden you realize you're in a system. And there's no way, like Albert Einstein said, like we have to. You talked about empiricism, like I once asked a person like, well, you could say that a human is more developed than a cat, and the person said, well, how do you know? You don't even know what a cat feels. I was like, okay, well, that's the end of that conversation, because
Mhm.
if we can't at least agree on like the basic premises that we perceive with our senses, then we can't really have a conversation. So we have to, Albert Einstein, very, very rooted in empirical reality, in science, right? When a guy like that says the solution to the problem is not on the same level as the problem,
Yeah, but no one
we
even
have
can
to.
Yeah.
apply that to humanity. That's the problem.
That's a conclusion that he derived from scientific work and scientific exploration. Yeah, that's what kind of a smart thing he said based on his scientific work. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so we have these. We even think that like somebody is good and somebody's bad, and when I get in a fight with someone, it's like, well, we don't even understand how nature is mixing together. We talked about it 1,000 times here. When you want to make water, like a lot of things had to smash into each other, had to burn together, had to be
Yeah.
stretched together.
Yeah.
When you want to create earth, things had to smash, things had to explode, things had to go on fire, things had to freeze, things had to melt. So if we start to see ourselves from the higher level, if we start adding into that network of love and start to see that all the things here, we think that everything, all of the colonizers that came to North America, Western Europe, thanks to Rome, all of those horrible years of Rome conquering Western Europe, but they brought quote unquote like civilization. Before that, it was very, very primitive. Like places, there are places on Earth that are still primitive. It doesn't mean it's bad, but all of these advances that we see in science, in thinking, in emotion, come
Yeah.
from the clashing of different cultures, the clashing of different elements. And if we see that it's nature operating on that and let that be, and focus more on adding love into the network above it, then we start to perceive everything very
That's
different. I
why it
think
makes me
finally our
feel.
conversation, our 2 point of views today are coming together.
That's what makes it
The
feel like we still need
Yeah,
nuclear
Chris.
war. God forbid. But it seems like we're
What, what,
not
what?
gonna
Say it again. What were you
nuclear
saying?
war. It seems like the only. It's like seems like the only thing that's gonna get us to spark that conversation, to even start caring about it. Because
Unfortunately,
right now it
uh,
seems like, yeah, there's a
that's the
war,
current
but
situation. That's the current situation, but we can change it. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. We don't have to go to war. We do have to feel friction between us, because through the friction, nature, like Seth said right now, right? Essentially, to summarize what Seth said now, you have to have friction between different elements in nature in order for them to create something new, to give birth to the next level
but
of life.
how much
We
friction?
need
How much do we need
How
though? That's
much
all.
friction depends on us. Why? Because we are conscious beings. The more we consciously embrace the process, look forward to the next level of development by even just like we're doing now, raising our awareness, raising our consciousness about what nature wants from us. Even if we don't understand it,
But
we
you're not gonna.
understand it's. But when you do that, you need less friction in the material world because you're doing it consciously.
But it's a catch twenty
That's the
two. You're not gonna get my
Why is it a wait,
conscious
wait, wait? Why is it a catch
embracement
22?
because you're not gonna get my conscious embracement unless I feel more pressure. Unless I feel like it's actually affecting me. I don't
You
want
can
nuclear war, but I.
replace the pressure, replace the pressure with a different kind of pressure. Instead of wars and artillery and bombs and fire, replace that with conscious deliberation, conscious discussions, a social environment, a different kind of media, a new kind of education, a new kind of signals that you'll get from other people, that you need to think about the
You
network.
you can
You need
also
to
say
think
though,
about the next level of human connection. Yeah.
let's not be so prudish about it. You can also say, as a Kabbalist, that you are in a constant war with there's forces inside of you that will remain in a constant war. Actually, the inclination.
Okay, so put it like that. You and I, let's say we want to kill each other right now. So how do we solve this? Nature got us to want to kill each other. We have opposite interests, whatever. You want to live in this house, I want to live in that house too. Or think about it as territory, right? Pretty similar to what we have right now going on in the world. So I want to kill you, you want to kill me. What do? So instead of working physically to kill each other in the material world, we will be working internally,
Against that
being at
inclination that
war
wants to
with that
kill.
exactly, and figuring out how we can get our different, opposite, conflicting qualities
I didn't know how we were
to
going to get out of this
to
show.
build
We just
something
did
new.
it.
I
didn't
feel
know
like I
how we
need
were
to
gonna
go to
get out
school
of
for
that
another
maze.
10 years just to know how to go through that. Like I'm not going to be sitting at my house
Okay, but
thinking
hold on,
about
hold on.
consciousness.
And
There's
by the way,
there's
we're not teaching anyone to do this as well. Talking about education, we're teaching people science, technology, things like that. No one is teaching us how to be a human being. No one is teaching us how to be a healthy node in the human network. We're not even, it's not part of the curriculum. It's not there. So that's,
Rabash tells that awesome story that there's a man whose son is not feeling well, and he goes to the doctor, and the doctor's like, "Your son has like sickness to the level 5," and the
which one,
guy's
which one's that? Go ahead. Go ahead. I lost the,
but the doctor can't heal the kid. So the
yeah.
guy's all upset about it, and his friends say to him, "Listen, there's this very famous professor, but he's very expensive."
Oh, okay. I know that one. Yeah. Go
So he
ahead.
goes to the expensive professor. He
Mhm.
pays him a ton of money, and the professor like diagnoses the kid, and he says, "Your kid's actually sick on the level of 10." The guy goes home, and he's like forlorn. He just paid tons of money, and now he finds out that he's got an even bigger problem. But his friends say, "No, no, no, you don't have a problem now. That's actually good. You now diagnosed the problem. Now that you have I mean, we know what every medicine does. Now that you have a proper diagnosis, now we can get to now we can actually heal something." So the
Didn't
problem,
Einstein say 80% of the problem is or 80% of the solution is uh
Whoever, but that's right.
yeah,
That's true as well.
is knowing the
A big
problem.
part of the problem is identifying of the solution is identifying the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
so
Einstein
so the
also
issue
said.
is the war doesn't go away. The diagnosis is we have this raging
yeah.
inclination inside of us.
Can we say hatred?
Uh, huh?
Can we say
Yeah,
hatred?
hatred. Some people will feel that. Some people maybe don't even feel that they have hatred in them towards other people. But conflict, disagreement, criticism, differences, in a word, I would say friction. I
Hatred
appreciate
is
that word
such a
more and more
weird
in the
thing.
last few
There's
days.
yeah, there's something really
No,
sharp
what, wait,
about hatred though. You know?
okay.
That tells you about yourself, not in the in the limbic state of, getting all those hormones and everything. That's different. I'm not talking about like this reptilian reaction. I'm talking about, when you feel and you sense from the side, you look at yourself and you see that you hate someone. It's an interesting perspective that, what is it about you just feel such repulsion. That's another word. Repulsion, rejection, that it's like an actual tangible sense of like, of just like pushing something away, wanting something to just not exist anymore. What do you do with that? Because I'm sure that you look at Zelensky, is that his name, in Ukraine. What does he feel towards Putin? What does he feel towards his I mean, it's like such a separation, you know. And you're talking
Yeah.
about being a network. What's happening in the network when you feel such separation, and everybody can somehow identify with,
Well,
some kind
you
of
don't
level of
even
hatred.
need to go to the extreme scenario that we're seeing right now playing out. Every moment of your life, you might encounter a little bit of conflict, disagreement, hatred, friction with your spouse, with someone at work, with someone
Okay.
on the
Yeah.
road, right? So what do you do with that? Uh, so that's important. That's an important point to make. We should not eliminate conflict or disagreement or differences. That's how nature makes new things, by creating diversity, creating differences, creating opposite and different disparate qualities and components. and then bringing them together to create a new thing. So any society that is trying to oppress and suppress criticism, that is what ultimately leads to a bigger problem. That leads to dictatorship, to some forms of communism, things like that, which is completely opposite. Balasalam goes to great length in the peace article explaining why that's not the path towards progress at all. We need to keep the conflict, but we need to channel the conflict and the differences towards growth. If we don't, the conflict becomes destructive and you see war.
It
That's the
requires
whole thing. We don't have to go to war. We do have to feel the conflict. If
it
we can channel
requires
the conflict, yeah,
it requires education, because we're now looking, we've been
that's the
using
bottom line.
we've been
Yeah,
using fossil fuels, and now we're saying we need to go to electric. And Tesla said there's energy in the air everywhere. That feeling, that anger, that hate, that whatever that comes up in us, that's free energy from the system that each of us are given. It's like someone's pouring
Hmm.
gasoline in your face. It's the free energy in the system. And the greater the person gets, the more of that free energy that the system gives them, I'm calling it free energy, the more of that the system gives them. It's called the evil inclination, or the snake if you read the ancient books, right?
yeah,
But it's not. If you have the correct education, we're much more modern people, and we need to understand what's happening in a much more modern lens. We are all now filled with tons of free energy, but just, if you don't have a car, a beautiful car that takes the gasoline, and then you can go wherever you want to go, you just pouring gasoline all over your face and all over yourself.
yeah,
That's the difference
You
yeah,
need the
between.
other piece, and then you
yeah.
go anywhere. You're flying up and down, back and forth, no boundaries.
I think a person could feel that too. If but you have one state where you say, I just want to do good to the world, and it feels like you're just like throwing that out into nowhere. And where's it going? I don't know. You hate somebody, you feel rejection towards somebody, and then you on top of that add that thought. Then you can feel, whoa, there's work here. What do I? Wow, I'm justifying myself, and you go into like a snowball of just like, where do you poured that energy into something before you're pouring the energy and just kind of dissipates, like Seth was saying. You hate someone, add that, and then something, you feel that there's something to work with. We're almost out of time. Oh, we are out of time.
We are out of time. Um, I want to add one more little
You
thing
should.
that we
You
didn't
should.
that we didn't say. I'm not going to repeat the stuff something that we didn't say. Um, um, we need to live in two worlds. There is we have to rise to a new level of human emotion. We have to feel the network that connects us. We have to develop these new senses, and that requires conscious work. Every human being in himself. This is the only thing that we actually do that doesn't come to us from nature itself. That is the and narrow latitude that human beings have, that you can call free choice. That is it. Consciously working on reconnecting to the network. On this level, however, in the physical world, we have to keep going. We have to keep. If you have a problem with a person, you might have to go to court. If someone is coming to kill you right now, you might have to defend yourself and kill them
Kill him
first.
first.
If someone in the chat is not letting us run this show smoothly, we will kick them out, because we have a goal here of connecting all the people together. But if our work in connection becomes more influential on everything that comes in here, maybe even that disturbance will stop appearing as a disturbance. So we have to work on two levels all the time. Kabbalists are not some kumbaya singers, who are just looking for the next tree to
I
hug
think
and
the
everything
world's
will be
done with
fine.
that, anyways. Yeah.
Yeah. And the ego, feeling the ego and the hatred and the repulsion and disconnection is part of the spiritual path. This is what we get to feel every
Because
day in
we
our
talk about
practicing Kabbalah in groups.
we talk about connection and wanting to send love all the time, but we don't really talk about hatred, and that's just as important, if not more important.
Oh man.
Watch yourselves. Watch yourselves. Take some homework, friends. Think about how it is that you relate to people outside of you. See if that fuel Seth was talking about exists, and what can you do with it.
You know, Balasalam writes, we have to conclude. I'll say it once.
All right,
Balasalam writes,
Balasalam.
it's just a psychological shift that needs to happen in human beings to kickstart the whole process of spiritual transformation, the spiritual revolution of mankind. It's just a simple psychological shift that needs to happen en masse, but a simple psychological shift that if we recognize that my well-being depends on your well-being, then it's better for me to live in bestowal to the rest of the system than to try to just suck whatever I can from it. Just that understanding that we're going to a better place, a hopeful place, a peaceful place, a new kind of living with each other where we feel a different kind of life. Just understanding that will kickstart the whole process. So hopefully, I don't know about how many. If someone listens to this and thinks about it, then maybe we've done something. Seth, you're gonna cut me off already, because if not, I'm gonna just continue.
I'm gonna cut you off, and I haven't touched the guitar since last show. I definitely need to make time to learn how to play that thing again, so we can do some songs here. But I do want to read one thing from the morning lesson. From the morning lesson today with our teacher. It was around maybe 4 a.m. Israel time in the lesson. I have to keep praying for the connection between us. Okay, check this out. This blew me away. When we see people suffering, it is not really people, but souls, parts of us that suffer. We do not understand it and are not aware of it because of our ego. If we could annul our ego, we would actually feel more pain, which will help us pray for those who are suffering, which are really, it's all our soul, everyone. Everything we see outside of us is our soul. Next Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you there.
Thanks, everybody.
For the love of the friends, yeah. Lift me up, you the ones I depend on. For the love of the friends, yeah. We in this together, one with no end, yeah. Deliver us from evil, bring us in bestow. The spirit of the metropolis can take control. For the love of the friends, like the sages foresaw. We the nation, one man and one soul. All my friends are warriors, they sacred. Against the evil inclination. Holy dedication, self-examination. One man, one soul, yeah. We the nation of the world, to be one with them. To reach the light with no end. Bringing contentment to him through the love of friends. Let connection begin.
No introduction is really needed. You make believe just to see it. But if you feel it, you can be it. Put on the uniform and transform till we become one. Definitely, the length of our days reaches infinity. As a collective, display its features. The revelation of godliness to its creatures. This road is very narrow, like in a telephone booth fighting Pharaoh. But with the help of my friends, I'm tag teaming my ego as I sit with the 10. Where the wisdom go, we go. My society is up the like variety, never artificial. This here is all true original. Lightment, Ashlag official, demonstrating unifying fundamental.
Fall in love of the world, to be one with them. To reach the light with no end. Bringing contentment to him through the love of friends. Let connection begin. For the love of the world, to be one with them. To reach the light with no end. Bringing contentment to him through the love of friends. Let
to you then. Blend to the center of the connected perfection. Reception, flip giving everything, everything. Feeling above the emptiness, emptiness, happiness, confidence. Best of the best, rest absolutely with the best of them. Investing in the bonds, turn on investment to the maximum. Excellent agreement, decision to unite like that. Now sign that contract with these 10 men, with the nation, with nature, always above the hate. To love the friend, to give contentment to him. To love the friend, to give contentment to him.
For the love of the world, to be one with them, to reach the light with no end, bringing contentment to him through the love of friends. Let connection begin.
Heaven and earth has come, they run, we want be one. Heaven and earth has come, they run, we want be one. Heaven and earth has come, they run, we want be one. Heaven and earth has come, heaven and earth has come, heaven on.
Babylonian separation we lived at. Egyptian slavery for the pharaoh, we did that. We built the temple as one man and then we left that. Also that we learned to serve the world and give that love back to every person from every nation, a light to them. We are the nation, correction lies in the love of friends. The world immersed in that hatred, on us it all depends. We got the remedy, connect and see the world as friends.
Finna get it flowing, now we in them in a rhythm. Making me turn, I wonder how we feel them. Hit them in the riddle, all the middles revealing. Up in them when the villain pull a mask off. In the middle, pumping on my chest, I wanna feeling these enemies. I'll be the bitter where they sending me. Evidently, re-invented me, he embedded me, remedied. Finna get it flowing, now we in them in a rhythm. Making me turn, I wonder how we feel them. Hit them in the riddle, all the middles revealing. Up in them when the villain pull a mask off. In the middle, pumping on my chest, I wanna feeling these enemies. I'll be the bitter where they sending me. Evidently, re-invented me, he embedded me, remedied. Now we all know what
For the
divinity.
love of the world, to be one with them, to reach the light with no end, bringing contentment to him through the love of friends. Let connection begin.